that they're both now have to play each other in winter semis of 2GG Saga Arms Saga.
I think one of the things I want to look at when it comes to Soul is his shockwave usage, man. That's like one of my favorite things about Springman, and you could already see it. He's getting into it right now. Both of these players nodding in agreement, showing respect to each other. And Byte and Barq, Coney, where you at? Probably jumping up and down in the seat.
You know he's in the chat. You know he's in the chat.
Of course.
Shout out to Coney.
Yep, we got the double bub. Low cooldown, ladies and gentlemen. Medium arms. And as far as the special ability, I mean, the only thing is that, there's like a bigger surface area because of the fact that you charge it. Oh my God,
they're just swinging.
They are building meter, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak. And it's so scary to deal with because if you try to be defensive and block, your arm is going to get damaged, just like Soul's right there.
Now, what's really bad for Soul, if he manages to keep colliding with all these attacks, eventually Barq is going to attack and he has to avoid the third punch coming at him. So you can't block all 3 punches. We see a rush landing in. Soul already at less than 25% health. The comeback kit factor in effect. Meanwhile, we have Jacob not taking a single hit.
This man, Byte and Barq, they're just so scared. And look at Barq. He's a good, beautiful job.
He's a good boy.
That was an amazing dodge by Soul, though. The fact that he dodged Barq while going through all that pressure. He has rush, but there is so much health on JacobT. Is he going to get a perfect?
This will be the first perfect I see today, and it is stuffed out. He managed to land a toaster punch.
Beautiful stuff right there with 90 damage on that final punch. Byte and Barq with that little that pose. I love it. Look at that dog just bouncing around, so
He's
happy.
Bouncing. I feel like every time they go into each other and start like attacking and just trading punches left and right, it's not good for Soul because Barq's eventually going to punch as well. So every single time they're starting to do that trade, you know Jacob wants to continue it.
Now here's one interesting thing to talk about when it comes to Byte and Barq. You notice how JacobT actually hopped on top of Barq. There's a shockwave, very similar to Springman's right there when he hops on the dog. So he can actually short hop on it, and you could land on it over and over again as long as Barq doesn't move out of the way.
And
so
just keep creating it.
Yeah, just keep recreating that situation, getting the shockwave, but there's another rush. Such great damage, 255. And when it comes to Byte and Barq as well, keep note, when you go for a charged attack, Barq actually punches way sooner than when you go for a non-charged attack. But now we have Barq just laying on the floor. Poor guy, he'll be back in action very soon.
Yeah, he doesn't stay down on the ground for very long. He's a good boy. He tries to get up as fast as possible. And we see the full charge. He has the comeback kit factor back in effect. Trying to abuse the stun, but all these punches so quick, coming out so strong. He's just struggling against all this constant barrage of attacks.
Yes, and JacobT's so smart because if you notice right there, Soul was on the verge of getting rush, full rush. But right there, JacobT said, not quite. I know you're going to go for a swing to probably build up that meter, so I'm just going to rush you right then and there. Beautiful stuff. NCJacobT taking the first game in such a quick fashion, dude. That bub is no joke.
Well, if you ever played like the ranked mode online, one of the prevalent strategies that we see, because when you play online in ranked mode, the usage of customs is allowed, custom arms.
Yes.
And we see a lot of characters establishing double bub as a strategy because it charges meters so fast and the attacks come out so rapidly quick that they'll see like a Kid Cobra with double bub becomes ridiculous because they're dashing all over the place. So it's a very valid strategy for Byte and Barq. And now we see a little change of scenery for Soul. He wants to take him to the Nade Labs, give him a little bit more room to work with. I feel like he didn't like the closed space against Byte and Barq.
I see.
And I agree with the counter pick using the boomerang. The boomerang is the only way you're going to be able to get through Bub with this character.
Yes, because right now, if you look at the way JacobT is playing, he's just going to go head on with these swings. He's not afraid. But regardless, the bump just keeps coming out non-stop. And here comes Barq. Good avoidance. He can't hide behind those test tubes forever. They do take quite damage, and it carries over to the next round as well.
Correct, yeah. When a tube is destroyed, it is down for the entire game.
Uh-oh, his arms are out, and he's going to take a lot of damage. 265 right there. So he's going to get some health very soon. I mean, not health, rush rather soon. Are we going to see him use the shockwave to get inside? Okay, there it is. Yeah. So usage of the shockwave going to be able to actually allow him to get through that buff. But it's rather hard. Oh, opportunity.
Saw an opening, but he actually jumped behind the pillar, behind the test tube, only taking a little bit of damage from the shield pokes and the final hit doing 40. Boomerang is a very great tool to get rid of Barq as well, but now we see Rush from Byte and Barq in order to revive Barq immediately. Such a great tool for that as well. Again, the Boomerang coming in strong, attacking from the side. getting rid of the dog, and Soul's putting up a little bit more of a fight this game.
He definitely is, but I still feel as if playing Byte and Barq on this stage with a double bub can prove to be very scary, because if you're just going to keep throwing out the bub when the opponent's on the other side of the stage, aren't you going to be building a lot of meter regardless?
That is correct.
Yes.
But now we see Soul trying to close the distance every single time. He has the comeback factor back in effect, but there's only 10 seconds left on the clock. He's got to make something work. He needs to land this rush ASAP. Gets rid of the test tube. Barq in the way. Lands the grab, and I think it's going to be it.
Oh, and JacobT burning the rush there. Interesting decision. Regardless, takes the round. But now, let's see what's going to happen here in round 2. As
double boomerang?
Double boomer. Let's see what Soul has on his mind here. Probably trying to go around the bub like you said before. Doesn't want to go head to head and clank with the bub, because another bub's just going to come out regardless if you clank.
Yeah, I feel like the toaster wasn't doing him any favors, and meanwhile he saw the boomerang was attacking over and over. So why not try the double boomerang? Why not give it a shot?
Yep. Okay, but there it is again. The bubs, he manages to get a hit in right there, and wow.
Wait, it's going behind the test tube?
Oh,
I've never seen
that.
That was crazy.
That was ridiculous. All right, here it is. Smart strategies being used right here by Soul. Uh-oh.
I thought the boomerang was going to knock him out of the rush, but he kept his cool. The thing about the bub, even though you're charging rush super fast, the actual rush damage isn't as much as you would think. It only did 265. You're very rarely seeing anything above 300 with a double bub.
And here comes the bubs again, but a great shockwave right there just to counter that attempt. Here comes JacobT. And you could see JacobT not quite. Oh, that was so beautiful.
He threw that grab from a mile away.
So he noticed what was happening. So instead of going for the bub and having to worry about his bub attempts getting thwarted, he just said, I'm just going to straight up grab this opponent while the boomerang takes all the time to get to me. Wow. And, you know, Barq also had something to do with that one.
See, this is an example of what we talked about in a previous set.
Yes.
He actually used his rush to cancel out his attack so he could go into a block, because he knew he wasn't going to be able to beat out double bub with his rush. So he used rush to just try to get the shield, but does not matter. JacobT taking game 2 away from Soul.
Yep, and right there, I think that the strategy that JacobT is using is when you're going up against somebody that's using like a curve type arm, right? While it's making its way towards you, you could just straight up push forward and counterattack, because there's a lot of startup when it comes to that attack reaching you. So why not push forward and get that hit? And he managed to get it. So right now, 2 NCJacobT over Soul. Soul probably going to have to dig deep right here, because first and foremost, understanding that he's going up against double bub. If he wanted to go for the Tri-Blast, Tri-Bolt. Apologies, Tri-Blast is Ninjara. Tri-Bolt. He's going to just lose head-to-head when it comes to the bub, because it's a light arm, right?
Yeah, correct.
So
it just gets stuffed out completely by the bub.
I feel like he's just going to have to somehow find a way to maneuver around the bubs and get a hit. Okay, there it is. So having a charge arm right there will allow him to get that knockdown that he needs to just keep mounting the pressure. But he has to keep an eye out for Barq. It looks like also, you know, JacobT does a pretty good job of protecting Barq unless he's down on the ground.
Yo, this is the Soul that I've been seeing previously. He's just keeping up this insane pressure, charging into his opponent, and using his shockwave to deflect his attacks. I feel like he's been a little bit too afraid to use shockwave in this matchup.
Yeah, probably because of the fact that if he were to shockwave one arm, he'd have to deal with another one. And also the fact that there's Barq just hanging out there. Look at Barq. So cute. In the heat of battle, though, probably people hate that dog.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Soul does not think that dog is cute.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's the scum of the earth. But anyway, here comes the punch. And whew, so much damage.
Okay, once again, he's trying to find a way opening, using a bunch of dashes, trying to get the shockwave. He saw the grab coming.
Was that Barq? Barq right there just coming through saying, don't you touch my master. Oh my gosh, and all that pressure right there. Soul still trying to push forward. Oh, don't touch Barq. What?
He has comeback factor again. He has him at low health. One more swing could do it. The Toaster Fire Punch does a clean 130 damage. Will be more than enough to get rid of the rest of his health. But now he has rush. He goes for the rush. Oh my God. He guards through it though.
Beautiful stuff. And right now, Soul could actually build some meter. Shockwaves through both of those bubs.
Trying to land the grab.
He has 1 health. Oh, and he actually dodges Barq right there. He has
rush. He can go for the rush.
He goes right in.
He's trying to chip him out, but you can't die from a chip. Whoever lands the next hit will take this out. When we see a draw, 3, no one's making the aggression. 2, Soul throwing punches.
1.
He goes for the last-ditch effort grab, and he wins.
And he actually, yeah, he does.
He won? What?
He just barely had a little more health.
Did he have 5 health?
And maybe JacobT had 1 health.
Okay.
Let's go. So, second round here. And JacobT, mind you, on the verge, right here, to go into the winners finals, yet This man Soul, I don't know what's happening, man, but it looks like he must have figured something out. Taking some damage right there, 225, very good stuff. That's basically like almost, well, not 2 grabs, because 2 grabs from Springman would be like 300.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here we go. Okay, the shockwaves are back out again.
I love the angles of the punches, just going, maneuvering around the bubs
Yes.
to hit him in the corner. Now he has him stuck behind there. This is the spot that JacobT does not want to be in.
Oh my gosh, he's basically doing the same kind of pressure that JacobT was doing. He's cornering him though.
Yo, that was so smart. He backed up and then threw the grab, catching him, completely mixing up his entire gameplay. He has him at such low health.
And even shockwaving Barq. Here's Barq again, doesn't even care, gets out of the way.
He is throwing the toasters. He wants a swing. He wants one more attack. Notices the opening, but actually doesn't go through.
Okay, and he manages to actually go up in his face, gets a little bit of damage, nominal, but there's the knockout. Soul taking game 3.
Finally putting a point on the board. Finally adapting in this best 3 of 5 sets, going into game 4, but now it is Jacob's counter pick. It's now his stage, and if he wants, if he thinks that Soul has figured out the matchup, he could switch characters D1.
You know what's actually ridiculous? I just noticed it.
What's
Soul
that?
has the same color hair as Springman. Wow. They're both, wow, look at that, man. Spirit animal right here. But anyway, game 4.
My mind is blown.
We actually have Byte and Barq still here. I mean, Byte and Barq has done very well for NCJacobT, you know? Might as well just go right back into there, adapt to the situation. I don't think he's going to switch up arms. If he does, though, I mean, I'll say one thing. If he ever manages to go for the Siki, you know the damage off of that one, especially on a rush. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to focus on these double bubs right here with Barq, already making it difficult for Soul to get inside. Look at that.
I like how you use the shockwave coming from Barq, where he tried to deflect some attacks from Soul.
Yo, Barq is on the loose. Where is he?
Where's he going? Get a leash on that dog.
Oh, but he manages to catch Soul as he dodges to the side. Good grab. Pushes him all the way to the corner.
He jumped over the grab D1 using the invincibility frames.
So smart. Uh-oh, and there goes Barq right now, just taking a little bit of a nap. He'll be back very soon, guys. Every time you see the dodge to the side from Soul, his arms are getting damaged. Because you see the arm drags a little bit, right, when you go for a dash to the side. So that gives you a free opportunity. That was actually a good rush opportunity, but he was a little too far.
Yeah, something you can do with rush is if you know your opponent's shield is super weak, like it's yellow or red, you see those exclamation points, just rush it.
Yeah,
just apply shield pressure, break it, and then do some damage. It might not do as much damage as you think you'd want, but it still does a hefty amount.
I mean, yeah, any damage is good damage, ladies and gentlemen.
It's free.
Here it is. Tries to go for a grab attempt right there, and here come the bubs.
Throwing out the punches left and right, looking like a boxing match.
Woo! Uh-oh. Barq is coming through soon, dude. It's like what?
Barq is on top. He has the high ground.
Uh-oh.
Okay, rush coming out. Knocks away Barq. Applying more damage to Jacob. Jacob on his last legs. One more swing. Lands the grab. Gets the uppercut and goes into a round 2.
I'm actually really surprised right there. JacobT actually had access to shield. Then, for some reason, we inched forward a little bit, then got caught in the middle of the rush. We're going to see what happens here in round 2. We have a switch. Siki, a very good arm from long distance, and we are in a big stage. So good job, right, JacobT, already opening up with that shot, getting both arms disabled, and a free grab follow-up.
Siki's really hard to deal with if you don't know how to like counteract it, because if it hits your shield, it has 2 active hitboxes if it's charged.
Yes.
You have to keep holding the shield.
Another thing to note, when you see Springman, if Springman goes for that shockwave while he's dashing, you can actually go for a charge Siki. And yes, you could trigger the explosion, and that hitbox will still be active, which can potentially disable both your arms. Keep your eyes open. There it is. What did I tell you? Free rush. And there it is, so much damage. He gets 285 after disabling those arms. Great plays right now by JacobT. And look at that, just chilling right now with his dog. Oh, wait a second. An opportunity to get some damage. But if you look at the health, that risk management was pretty good by JacobT.
Okay, Soul's trying to bring back the health.
Oh, free grab.
Tries to get the grab. It doesn't get the grab. I think he tried to go for the grab because he swung both attacks at the same time, but it does not matter. He still landed some damage.
Yep.
Soul's hurting. He has the comeback factor in effect. Full fire forever on his toasts.
Oh, here
Toasters.
it is. Uh-oh. A little bit of a problem here, but there's some meter.
He shockwaved the grab away. One more swing.
JacobT can actually bring it back. Wait, actually, both of these players, we have rush for both.
He goes for the rush. He just throws it out. Applying shield pressure, pushing him back. He's at 1 health. He can opt to go for a timeout if he wants to. Tries to avoid it. He's too far away.
Great defense by Soul. A lot of players would usually drop shield a little too soon.
Soul trying to get out.
We're getting really close
Moving
here.
his last swing. 2 seconds left on the clock.
1
Soul
second.
jumps over it. takes the timeout.
Wow! And the fact that both of these players were actually being super aggressive, and regardless of that fact, we still went to a timeout right then and there. JacobT trying out the Siki, and the Siki was not a bad idea.
It wasn't.
Man, oh man. So if you look at it, first off, both of these guys are using medium weight arms. You know, when Byte and Barq actually have a really good spread when you look at their default arms, right? Having the Cracker, a light arm that's rather quick. The Bub is super fast for a medium arm too. And the Siki, which is great for just like, you know, it auto targets and it works from long range. And if you notice, that was a big stage, so I guess I understand. JacobT actually losing on the stage, but I guess we're going back here. Does the loser have a option to just run it back here?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they want to run back, there's no like rule that makes it so you can't go back to the stage that you previously won on.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. So here it is. Uh-oh. And no interruption right there by Barq. Instead, Barq, you know, wanted to look at the sights. You know, it's quite kind of a beautiful stage. Ribbon ring. A lot going on. The DJ is pretty sick. The person that's singing is on point too.
Yeah, a lot of characters in this series are a big fan of Ribbon Girl.
Really? All right, so here we go. There's the Bub getting a lot of damage. And look at that, man. The fire attribute just getting knocked down. So wait a second. Oh!
Knocks him out of the rush with a singular swing. And now he's about to have rush himself. Things are starting to fall apart for Jacob as Soul continues to adapt and adapt. He has at such low health. Meanwhile, he has so much, he's just swinging like crazy. Using the Bub strategy against him. Landed the grab, but it was too late. The Toaster hit him in round one, going to Soul.
And almost looks like he's just employing the same Bub strategy that we saw, except now he kind of has an easier access to Shockwave than Byte and Barq does, because at least you need Barq to be, like, awake. Wait a second, that explosion is going to stop him from rushing. Good stuff right there by JacobT.
And there's no more Bub on the field. He is opting to go for the Cracker with a fire attribute. Light arm, multi-hits. A good, very powerful weapon.
Yes, there it is. I think this is really smart, but he's going to have to watch out because that Popper can definitely lose to those Toasters. The Cracker, rather.
The arms off of some electricity arms have different, like, lasting. How long the stun lasts on your opponent depends on what arm you're using, because that Siki lasted forever.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Okay, he's going to keep that shield up. There's the bomb, and he respects the explosion. Very good stuff by Soul again. And he's just going to keep up this pressure, man.
Closing the distance. But out the punches, avoiding the Siki very narrowly by jumping. Meanwhile, you got Jacob trying to like land that swing. Almost got him with the Siki, but he dashed away.
Oh my goodness, all that pressure. Oh, Barq!
From above?
Barq, oh my gosh!
It doesn't matter though, he got a rush. Pushing him back. Soul just one or two more hits away from moving on to winners finals. Here at 2GGC Arms Saga. This could be the grab. Barq interrupting the grab.
Barq
That could have been it. That could have been the set, but then Barq just punches him out of it.
And every time Barq's just shaking his head, he's like, you are not touching my master. Right now. Oh my goodness, JacobT could actually bring it back. Will he get another round?
He is throwing out attacks. He is desperate for this opening.
He needs rush. Will he get it?
He gets rush.
He gets an opportunity.
He lands it. But he misses. This could be bad for him. Soul has the advantage.
Soul also
7 seconds.
He could get rushed very soon. He misses the grab.
Oh, and he jumps into it. Soul taking it with a 3-0 reversal victory.
With only 3 seconds remaining on the clock. Beautiful plays, and I can't believe it. Barq actually came through. He was like, nah, man, I'm really trying to get this around. Especially that one part where he was standing on the platform and just straight up hit Springman on his head. He was like, you know, I heard Biff said your hair was fake, so I'm trying to see, I'm trying to actually see if your hair is fake.
Call him out.
But at the end of the day, great job to Soul. This man, you know, just sticking with a character that he felt was really close to Little Mac right there with Springman and getting a lot of great results from it. I feel like a lot of people looking at that particular match were thinking, you know what, double Bub strategy with Byte and Barq. That's like 3 arms that you're going to have to worry about. That's going to be very difficult to win. But you know what? Soul, he brought it back.
He brought it back with a vengeance. He was down 2-0. If that was the best 2 of 3 set, or that set happened before top 8, that would have just been clean, move on, Jacob moving on, free win. But he brought it back with 3 in a row victory. Noble Soul.
Wow, I'm thoroughly impressed, dude. I think that was just like really, really, really cool plays on his part. Is he like the Soul Springman?
No pun intended?
Yeah, no pun. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. I definitely, nope, not at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Next, on the other side of winter semis, by the way, we have We're missing No, actually, taking the stage, who is a Kid Cobra main. That is the second Kid Cobra that we have here. The first one being Rice, who is in the loser side still. He's now in losers quarters. Finished his match over Makos, who was the Min player, leaving him at 7th place. And he will be going up against
Busta, another Byte and Barq player. Second Byte and Barq today. You know, he's from Nevada, actually. He traveled here.
Wow,
for this tournament.
Look at that. So Byte and Barq and Kid Cobra finding popularity here. And what are those two characters that we like? Those were two characters that we loved a lot before the game got released. You know, I had the opportunity to get early access copy of ARMS, and it was really cool to see a lot of the characters in the game. But the characters that touched my heart a lot were like Mechanica, Springman 2,
Helix,
Kid Cobra, and
Helix.
Oh yeah, Helix too. Helix is definitely that was the character that I kept trying to play, but like caught the most L's with. But I still felt like he had a lot of potential, you know. And now it brings me great joy to actually see people learning how to use Helix really well. Unfortunately, no Helix is here in the top 8.
That's fine. You know, there'll be more tournaments. I know Helix will prove his worth one day. I know a lot of people are already like advancing the meta with him.
Yes.
In Japan and the US, like online, whatever, there are a lot of Helixes using his quirky maneuverability to be able to dodge underneath attacks by using dash, as well as trying to like avoid attacks by holding the jump button, making himself kind of like a slender body and then waving left to right like a Jello man and just avoid all of the punches.
Yep, and at the same time having charged arms, making him quite difficult to deal with. Because, you know, if he has like that dragon with the ice dragon rather, he'll be able to like freeze his opponents right there with the ice, making it difficult for them to move. And when it comes to that blorb, I mean, I don't think you want to get caught with that blorb, because that just gives him a free opportunity to set up a 50-50 just off of the fact that you can't see what's happening.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And then also missing Null himself. I was checking out the ARMS